Enjoy.
Hello everyone, and welcome to another Cartoon Galaxy Rant. I'm Mars Moon, and I like to rant about cartoons. So, I've been meaning to talk about this for some time. Apparently, there has been the D23, which released a lot of new Disney stuff. And little by little, I've been seeing some of the releases in articles, or people have been talking about them online. So I decided to also just take an overall look at everything that has been released. And I know some of you are probably going to hate me for this. Not very impressive. There are some good things, don't get me wrong, but it's kind of the typical Disney stuff. Sequels and live actions up the ass. Now, again, don't get me wrong. I liked Disney once upon a time. In fact, actually, the reason that I got into animation was because of Disney. I grew up during the Disney Renaissance when they made amazing stuff. That was like when they were at their highest point, in my opinion. I mean, there was a lot of movies that came out that were fantastic. And 2D back in the day. Now everything is all 3D. I miss 2D. Also, another big influence would be Don Bluth. But if you think about it, he originally started becoming an animator with none other than Disney, before, of course, he decided to break away and do his own animations. The thing I love about him and Disney is the animation has so much fluidity, and even as a kid, that always drew me into animation. But my God, have they fallen so far? And in the sense of just not being very imaginative as they used to be. And I think a lot of it does have to do with leadership and corporate bullcrap. And that's why the stuff they come out with is just not like it used to be. And heck, it got pretty bad even when I was young, because I started to see some of the downfall a little bit. After a lot of the good films came out, Disney did get into that whole territory of coming up with sequels all the time. Though they were straight to DVD, VHS type sequels, but they were pushing out a lot of them. And I remember even as a kid thinking, dang, are they running out of ideas? But I feel like it's just gotten even worse now. So I'm going to talk about some of these and just the movie releases. I know that they had also announced TV shows and stuff like that, but I want to focus more on the movies. Because, as always, it's more sequels and more live actions, which, in my personal opinion, is just lazy. Absolutely lazy. So, let's talk about the sequels. So, from the list from Disney's D23, these are the lovely sequels that they are releasing. Frozen 3. Zootopia 3. We have another Star Wars film. I'm going to count that because they have just been crapping out Star Wars like you wouldn't believe. Also superhero movies. Am I not surprised by that? Avengers Doomsday, X-Men, whoop-de-doo. We have Incredibles 3. We have Coco 2, which I have seen promotional pictures of. I guess people are psyched about the new image of Miguel from Coco, but yes, another sequel. We have Princess Diaries 3. I didn't even know they made a Princess Diaries 2, but we're getting a third one. We have another Ice Age. How many Ice Ages have they come out with so far? And then I thought they finally stopped, but no, we're having another one. We have Lilo and Stitch 2, not to be mistaken with the straight-to-DVD Lilo and Stitch 2 that came out many years ago. This is Lilo and Stitch 2 for the live-action Lilo and Stitch. But don't worry, everybody, Angel's going to be in it, because it has nothing to do with the merchandising that's been going on for the past few years. That's been displaying Stitch and Angel on like mugs and t-shirts and backpacks and God knows what. Nothing to do with merchandising. Lilo and Stitch 2, folks. Okay, of course, speaking of live actions, they're going to make a live action Tangled, because that's another thing Disney loves to do. Just take everything and make it live action. Like that lovely Moana film that they did, which honestly, the film wasn't even that old and they had to make it a live action. Okay, I think I covered all of the sequels. Now, I could also say the Simpsons movie could count as a sequel in a sense, because there was a Simpsons movie way back. I will not count that as a sequel, however, because the first Simpsons film came out before Disney owned them. So this is probably going to be the first Disney released movie for the Simpsons. This is Simpsons Disney coming up on the big screen. I really don't have a lot of hope for this movie because I hate to say it as a Simpsons fan, and also, I mean, I know people who are also Simpsons fans. A lot of original Simpsons fans have just stopped watching The Simpsons. It hasn't been the same as it used to be. I actually did a video talking about The Simpsons way back. If you like, I'll put a link in the description if you're interested. It talks about the downfall of The Simpsons. So as I mentioned, there are the majority of the list of movie releases are all sequels with some live actions in there. And it's mind-boggling, because it just kind of goes into the whole fact that, you know, for a company that is about being imaginative and creative, all they ever do is push out the same crap. And they're not the only company that does that, because I've talked about Warner Brothers doing very similar things. And I'm sure there's other companies too. It's just they don't want to take risks because they don't want to lose money. They stick with the familiar stuff because they know people will go and watch these things. And, you know, I could beg and plead all of you to not give your money to this stupid crap, because if you stop doing it, then they'll stop making all these sequels and live actions and finally try to make original stuff. But I know there's big Disney fans out there that are going to watch it anyway. Disney's going to make their money, and they're going to continue making this garbage. So there you have it. That being out of the way, let's cover some of their newer stuff. And I'll give you a little bit of my take on that. Also, a little bit of what I've heard other people share about these new films that are coming out. So one of the big ones I've heard a lot about is Hexed. And looking a little bit at the trailers and such, and again, what people have been commenting about Hexed, it has to do with, I guess, this girl who finds out that she has magical powers. She's an outcast of some kind, and yeah, and then she finds out she has magic and whatnot, and I guess that leads to some fun adventures. And the reason I think a lot of people are not too excited about this film, and I could kind of understand that, is it seems like Disney is going with the same kind of formula that they do with a lot of their films, or at least most of them, most of their newer ones. So I'll give them some credit for trying to come up with something new, but if you are using the same formula for every single movie or most of your movies, it does feel lazy and it's disinteresting. That formula, again, being that it seems like it's always a character that is an outcast of some kind, the black sheep, whatever it is, but they find some kind of hidden potential that, you know, gets intertwined in, again, this kind of adventure or within the plot of the story. Hexed basically is the same thing. I hate to say it. It's almost kind of like Harry Potter. It's like they take from Harry Potter. And I know there's probably been a formula like that preceding Harry Potter, but I know Harry Potter is a very popular franchise. And it is built on, or was built on, the fact that Harry Potter was like this outcast character, and he finds that he is a wizard, and that leads to the rest of the plot of the story. This big adventure. So, and it's actually kind of ironic because Hexed is tied to magic. The other films that are coming out besides Hexed, we have the Bluey movie. Now, I know it's not an original idea type movie. This is more of taking a popular kids franchise, kids show, and turning it into a movie. And I noticed this seems to be kind of a trend because they just released another kids movie, Paw Patrol. So I wonder if, I don't know, all the industries are like, oh, we gotta, get kids to watch movies because heck, we're making money off these franchises on our streaming services, but imagine how much more money we'll make if we take these shows that kids they love and putting it on the big screen where parents have to pay even more money to buy a ticket, and probably more than once because kids, they're going to want to watch it maybe 2 or 3 more times after enjoying the movie the first time. And yeah, we got to put it on the big screen. And don't get me wrong, I watched some Bluey. My husband's cousin's daughter loves Bluey. And so anytime we go to visit, Bluey will be on. And I've watched some of it with her. And it's a good kids show from what I've seen. The one thing I think I've seen that people have been complaining about is that the Bluey film, instead of being in 2D, is going to be 3D. So people are a little pissed about that. The animation doesn't look bad, but I get the whole, I'm going to call it 3D fatigue. Every time these companies have to put anything on the big screen, it's always transferred into 3D. It's rarely ever 2D. And I'm even sick of it. I miss the old days of 2D. And Bluey is a 2D cartoon. I don't know why they couldn't just make it 2D. But I know why they're making it 3D, because it's cheaper to produce. And the last thing I want to address is Clay. Now, this one I don't know too much about. I do know that Kieran Culkin is going to be starring in it. But this is the one film I think that a lot of people are hyped about. I hear more hype about this film than any of the others. Basically, how it describes this is about a rebellious misfit named Flip. And it's set in a magical forest full of fantastic creatures. So it's kind of like a fantasy type animation. It looks almost 2D-ish, but it's definitely 3D. I think it's gonna be a 3D film, but it does have an overlay on it that gives it a sort of 2D look. I don't know why it's giving me Rayman vibes, though. I mean, when I first looked at this, I'm like, this looks like Rayman. But it looks like if you took Rayman and Link from Zelda and combine them together, you would get this character. You would get Flip. So I'll be totally honest. I don't know if this particular movie is inspired by certain video games. Maybe that's why it's appealing to people. Because if you're a Disney lover and a video game lover, the first thing I see is Rayman. The first thing I think is, oh my god, a video game. Even the way he's jumping, it looks like a 2D platformer. So those are pretty much the films that have been covered at the Disney D23. If I missed any, let me know. You could share in the comments below. That's what the comments are for. And also, feel free to share your thoughts about some of these films. That's all I want to share. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you enjoyed the video, feel free to like and subscribe. I also have a Patreon. So if you want to follow me there, that would be awesome. And yeah, as always, take care. Until next time, peace out.